explaining all that, right? This was where we stopped. Yeah. So this is cloud benefits. Yeah. So for cloud benefits, we have high availability. Yes, it is always available when you need your resources. You would always get to um you always get access to your resources. We have scalability. Yeah, you can scale up and scale down. That means, like I was saying earlier, you can choose to say, oh, I need more resources, and you can choose to say, oh, I'm going down on the resources I need. So that's for the scalability. Is anybody trying to say something? Okay, so that's for scalability. Then we have predictability. So for from this, I think you should get it. You can actually tell what you would spend or what um you want to use, right? You can easily you can easily know exactly what your expenditure will look like for cloud. You can predict what you would be using there. So we have governance. So governance just simply means there are policies. You can actually create policies that will guide your data. You can set it up for your cloud environment. You can do that. Manageability. So manageability means you can easily manage it within your organization. So if you pay for a particular cloud service, you can actually have your guys that would work on it. They know how to set things up and all of it. So is easy to manage, right? We have security. It is well secured. Like Microsoft, they would secure your information for you, and the data center is very secured. Now we even have physical security there. It's not just normal security compared to you having your on-prem data center that you just have people can just barge in and spoil stuff. For Microsoft, theirs is very secure. Then it's reliable, right? You can always get the files anytime you what do they call it? Where you want it, because they are distributed across different machines. You can always get your information, and when you're getting them, they're also reliable. We also have elastic. Elastic, that means as you draw it, it's flexible. So yeah, so that's for the benefits of cloud. It's just very straightforward. So all this is if they probably ask you this, you can always get this in your brain and answer it. So now the next part. So please, I just want people that forget to turn off their mic, right? You would be disturbing the recording. And it's very simple. Once you just want to come into any meeting, immediately you click join. It will show you your mic. Just swipe the other way around. So
Throw that in garbage
once you swipe the other way around, it will
on the
turn it.
floor.
Oh,
Floor.
someone in. Please, who is? I can't even see the person that is. Someone is just making noise on the background. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the cloud services, right? So for cloud services, remember we spoke about the types of cloud, right? For the first part when we're talking about it. So the next one is cloud services. So if they ask you what is cloud services type, it's different from um, types of cloud. So you have to pay attention. But now, what if they ask you the cloud service model? Is the same thing they are trying to ask you. I hope you can remember the first one, deployment model, right? And this is service model. So if we are talking about the service model, this service model, what is actually happening here is, we were talking about the on-demand resources, IT infrastructure, and all of it. Yeah. So now we are now going to see how the the services in which they are splitted into. So if we come here, the next distance say describe. So these are the three cloud services. Just in case you've not heard it before, we have infrastructure as a service. So you will probably you hardly hear people saying infrastructure as a service most times. If you're working with some of these cloud engineers, right, you just hear them IaaS. Then platform as a service, you hear them saying PaaS, software as a service, and then you hear them saying SaaS. You would hardly hear them saying any of this. But then there's one more. There's always one more that is not popular. That's serverless, right? So in case you are probably having a conversation and someone is asking you, tell me about cloud services. You can say IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, serverless. If you say these three, you're good to go, like thumbs up. But serverless, is the spelling. So if you probably hear somebody talking about this, just know it's part of the services also. But you might not be seeing it in most documents when you're reading. But I'm just trying to make this clear. So let me see something. I think no, I just did the wrong stuff. I wanted to I, I wanted to do something now. Let me end the show. So I have it just took me to another screen. So I don't want to just start disconnecting and taking it back. So it's fine. We'll go like this. So the first one is infrastructure as a service, right? So what is infrastructure as a service? So we have here in infrastructure as a service, build pay as you go IT infrastructure by renting servers, virtual machine, storage, networks, and operating system from cloud providers. So now, when we are talking about cloud, we've been saying types of cloud, you're getting cloud service, you're doing this. For infrastructure as a service, we are talking about infrastructure as a service, it simply means you're getting these particular resources. Now look at the resources that are involved when you're dealing with infrastructure as a service. So if you're going to use a cloud service that has to do with virtualization, virtual machine, storage, network, operating system, that means you're dealing with IaaS. Remember, we say cloud computing services on demand. So, what are the services on demand? Now, one of them is, oh, I need to set up virtual machine. And as I'm setting up the virtual machine, it has to have a network. So, network is one of the things that, even if you did not take anything from this training, please just take that one out because I will try to do network like very well. Like, you don't need to know network to know network at the end of this training. So, I will explain it also. Then, why I'm explaining it is because um I've I've come in contact with a lot of people that are in cloud, like they are technical support engineers and all of that. When it gets to the level where we are talking about subnets, creating VNets, how do we they are lost at that moment. They could probably do some other stuff, right? But they don't even understand what's happening on the network part. Or sometimes they say, oh, whitelist this IP address and all of it. They are lost. So the way I'm doing this, my training is so you don't just go and be like a cloud person and your knowledge is just one-sided. So that's why I would also go to servers because most people also you see they don't really understand the server side. Like they don't know what group policy is, they don't know how to do network mapping, failover clusters, they don't know all those stuff because they are just on the cloud. And when they come across that, they'll just say, come meet your system admin guy. So I'm trying to balance all that, right? So if you look at this now, one of the services you'll probably be setting up when you're working on the cloud is network. You'll create VNet. Now, when you're using those network, operating system, storage, and all of that, what you're actually dealing with is infrastructure as a service. That's one of the services that we can get from cloud. So the next one is platform as a service. So platform as a service are for the guys here that probably wants to be web developer, right? If you're probably going to be building programmer and all of that. So what does platform as a service do? From here, you say provides environment for building, testing, and deploying software application without focusing on the underlying infrastructure. That means you just write your code, build your application, and then you're going to host it, right? You don't care about the type of OS they are putting it, the infrastructure they are using to build it, and all of that. You're just moving your application there. The cloud service provider, they are the ones that will handle it. You just go set up whatsoever you want, the app service you want, and configure what you want, move your code, and start testing it. So that's for people that are using platform as a service. That the service they are paying for is has to do with applications, right? Not storage, all these other um virtual machines. It doesn't concern them. That's not their business. So people that are going to be using the service, this is what they'll be focusing on. Then we now have another one, software as a service. So software as a service is one of the biggest platform now, because most people don't know. Like even when people are talking about the cloud, right? You I've had to like have conversation with people. Just calm down. There is also a lot of opportunities in software as a service. We have Salesforce, people that handle Salesforce. Microsoft is like I just called Salesforce. We have Microsoft's M365. M365, most people here will probably have heard of M365. And if I probably say Office 365, which was people always know it as before, right? So I have people telling me of M365. Is it not word that I will use to type? Like it is more than that. It is we have a lot going inside of M365, and M365 is software as a service. Now, what is software as a service? They say users connect and use cloud-based apps over the internet. For example, Microsoft 365, email and calendar. Now, you will see that um, the software as a service itself, you use it over the internet. On most times you use it through web portal and stuff like that, but then there is a lot of opportunities in just software as a service when we are talking about cloud. If you look at the internet, you can just go and type um, M365 administrator. Just check the roles that are there. You don't have to check it now. You can check it later. Just go and check Microsoft 365 administrator. Just check what is Microsoft 365 consultant. Just check what is coming. Just check under the engineer, Microsoft 365 engineer. Now, I just said Microsoft 365, Microsoft 365. Now, do you know what you should check? Go and check SharePoint engineer, Exchange Online engineer. These are inside M365, and they have roles for just those other services I'm mentioning, and they're inside M365. And M365 is just software as a service. It is big. The cloud is getting big. And if you look at Microsoft now, if you check between few years back and now, they are not sleeping. They are bringing up every, every new day. They are bringing up new stuff that most organizations they just want to embrace it. So if you look at this now, you'll see that there is a lot that you can just be doing just on this side. Now, infrastructure, we have a lot going on there too. You can be an infrastructure expert where you build VMs, set up storage, file sync. You can be doing all of that. So, and in the long run, like I always tell people, you don't need to come with the idea that, oh, this is what I want, and you're looking for how to get it off. Just start. And when you start, be narrowing it down. If you have to be dealing with M365, narrow, do stuff, learn stuff about M365, right? As we are going, then you can probably um start shifting your hand and be picking something else. While you're picking something else, you're learning about it. You will probably be learning about something that you can integrate into M365. By the time you're learning it, you're already going far. So that's for this software as a service. Now we have this. This is cloud service comparison. So if we look at it, we have IaaS, the most flexible cloud service, right? I'll take you back so you can see stuff. Then we have you configure and manage the hardware for your application. Yeah, you'll see why they are saying all this. Focus on application development. Platform management is handled by the cloud provider. Yeah, you're just more focused about this. This hardware does not is none of your business which hardware your stuff is running on. You're not configuring it. You're just focused on your application. So this is pay as you go service, right? And user pay for the software they use on subscription basis. So this is on subscription basis. You have to subscribe for M365, and you subscribe for a license in M365. So they have different license. What you subscribe for is what you get and what you can use. So that's how SaaS application works. So for that, I'm now coming up to this place. Now you'll see why I did not want to talk about this particular place, because I don't know how I would have just jump from here and then start telling you for SaaS, this is no. So now, if I'm talking about this now, if you look at this shared responsibility, when we are using the services in cloud, there are some responsibilities that it is you that will handle them, and there are some that it is the cloud provider that will handle them. So we need to understand this stuff, and these responsibilities also, they are based on the kind of service you're using. So if you're using on-prem, for the person that asked about on-prem, you can see who will manage it, customer. That means if you have an on-prem environment, you're managing everything, the physical data center, the network, physical network, the host, the operating system that you will put on the system, that you have your server, the network control, the application, everything, you will manage it because you're the one setting up in your environment. That's for on-prem. Then we have IaaS. Now remember IaaS, right? We talk about virtualization, storage, and all of it. IaaS has a lot more that you can do, right? Because network, remember, all those stuff. Now, if you look at this, the physical data center, Microsoft would not give you that one because they are the one protecting the data center where your file is. They are the one handling it. That's why you see Microsoft. The physical network, because of course, everything we are accessing in the cloud is coming from a network and they have to have the network running. So they are the one controlling. Then the physical host, they are the ones that want it. But from here, operating system, you will choose the operating system you want to install on your virtual machine, the network, the application. We'll do all of this. We'll create virtual machines, right? We'll probably also create what do they call this? We'll use Hyper-V also. We'll use most of Hyper-V, but that will be on-prem, but we'll still see how we can do this on um, the cloud side. So, but if you look at this, you're going to be handling everything from here, the information, the data, everything. So now for somebody that is using the pass, right? This is the developer guy. The operating system is not handling it, the physical host, all of this is not handling. But for the network, Microsoft and the customer, the consumer, they will share responsibility. There are some parts Microsoft will handle, and there are some parts that you will handle. For the applications, the same thing. The identity, the same thing. But from here upward, the account identity, the device, the information, from there up, it is your responsibility to handle all of that. But when you look at SaaS, right? M365, that one, you see almost everything is handled by Microsoft. The patching of the software, updating it, that's not your business. You just handle your information, the device, the account that you're creating, which is one of the stuff I'm doing here. I'm the one handling all of this aspect, right? Then this identity and directory infrastructure, Microsoft has a shared responsibility with you right now. So when you look at all this, right, you can now start seeing where we are going. Although this is just like we are just touching it, because I don't know. For me, I believe in more hands-on, because the hands-on is where we'll just start touching stuff and be seeing how they work. But this is something that is very important, because before you start doing the hands-on, you should actually know what you would get yourself involved in. So that's for the um shared responsibility. So for serverless, right? Serverless is more of platform as a service, right? You just write functions, and when you write those functions, they start running on your cloud, um, your cloud service, right? As they are running, right? You don't care about the server infrastructure and all of that. You just pay for the function that is running. So Microsoft, they have functions, right? So you can run a particular function like a script on your cloud provider, and you tell it that anytime this thing happen, this script should run, and once this script run, this should happen. So Microsoft will just be charging you for that your function that is the time your function is running. Every other thing you're not really paying for it. You're just paying for that particular um, function that your or that particular process that is running on your cloud service at that particular time with Microsoft or whatsoever you're doing or your platform. So serverless is more of how would I say it? Is more of is under platform as a service. It's just like it's just part of this platform as a service, but you will probably not see it that much, right? But it is part of it. So at this point, I think I'm done with this. Yeah. So we would go back to question time part two.